Welcome to Workout Masters, episode number 43. This is Ruben.
And this is Aram.
Another excellent episode today, guys. And this is the thing. We're going to talk about ergonomics. And I think, for a majority of the population, it's a must-listen episode. So if you know anybody who works in the office, please forward this episode, give them the present, and forward it to them so hopefully they'll listen. And they're going to avoid injuries. I cannot tell you how many people that I had to rehabilitate from a work-related stress of sitting, nothing but else but sitting in a poor posture while they're working.
It's repetitive strain injuries.
It's amazing. It's amazing. You can injure yourself by sitting in an improperly adjusted chair.
All right, so let's go back in time, per se. And I didn't even plan on saying this, but this came to mind right now. Do you have an idea how old chairs are?
I have no idea.
Well, they're only about a couple thousand years old. I would say actually more than a couple. It's a few thousand years old. And the only people that used to have chairs were those, ranking very high in society.
What are you trying to say? I'm sitting on the ball here, and then you're sitting on the chair. Bastard, get off of it.
So ideally, everybody else, throughout the process of evolution of the human being, per se, we didn't have chairs. We might have sat down on a stump, on a rock. But as far, as the places where we live, where we work, where we gather with our, fellow tribesmen, there was no chairs. We used to squat down on our heels and just sit on our heels, literally.
All you gotta do is you visit Armenia, you'll see a bunch of guys squatted on the streets waiting for
it serves several purposes, and let the truth be told. That, for example, when you're actually sitting down in that position, you're decompressing the disc of your lumbar spine by means of stretching, the whole... Decompressing. Yeah. Did I say compressing? My bad. Just decompressing. And by elongating, the spinal erectors in the lumbar area. So that has, a way, it has a function to why they do that. So the function follows the form and vice versa. The other thing about chairs is that we always did all our work squatting down. We set food, we prepare, food, fire, we did all our manual work on the ground. We didn't have tables, we didn't have chairs. And we did that for hundreds, if not millions of years.
Don't tell me you're going to recommend everybody to squat down in front of computers.
Chop your table to pieces and get rid of the chairs and just gather around.
Can you imagine the office where everybody's in a full squat position?
Oh, half of them will be screaming in pain. And the other ones will be laughing too hard about the people that are in pain.
We're so bad that actually I haven't seen many clients who can actually do a full squat.
Squat, absolutely.
Forget about sitting in a full squat for hours.
Ergonomics, let's say that is the science of design and interaction with tools, with machinery, with the equipment that we use in our everyday lives. Like, for example, in the making of desks, chairs, tables, you name it. And what they try to do is to merge, health and productivity. So the health of the individual that is in those conditions is okay, and that the productivity is okay too. And they try to keep it at a match. So that means that they're actually climbing towards being healthier and being more productive by means of having injuries, and being healthier by means of having less injuries, etc. This one is, important statistic that oftentimes people have no clue about. And that is the fact, that most of the office equipment that we encounter in our lives is built for men that are about 5'10", a meter 0.75 centimeters average of height, which is pretty tall for a lot of people. I can think of, 3/4 of my female, clients that they're not past 5'6". So they're about 4 inches short of meeting that mark, or what a 5'10", the only female that I know that's 5'10" is actually my sister. And actually, the equipment, the table, the chairs, and everything is going to be very, very high.
It seems like imagine if somebody would make shoes of one size and everybody is supposed to fit in the same shoes. Well, this is exactly what we have. We have tables that pretty much designed for one size.
Yes.
And chairs, in majority of cases, designed for one size.
And that causes a lot of problems, because you realize that a person that might be short, in order to put themselves at a proper position, sitting in front of a desk, working with a computer, with a keyboard and a mouse, stuff like that, their arms are going to be raised. You know, so they're gonna be almost like a little kid at a dining table trying to do homework.
So there's two problems for me. I see that the most equipment, like office equipment, designed for kind of like an average size, number one. Number two, a lot of times when we design things, designers look at what majority people, the position they're sitting in, and they design, let's say, things according to that position. So you'll find a lot of cars that when you sit in them, you go in this mode, just naturally. And you know, back in the days, you would sit down like in old cars, they would always put you in a good posture. These days, like you can sit down in a sports car, in a really expensive sports car, and you go in this position. And then it's kind of like ergonomic designers try to create a more comfortable position for average person. And since the average person have a poor posture, we have a bunch of things designed for people with poor posture that just aggravates the problem.
Because the person itself is not healthy, it doesn't have good posture to begin with, it creates like a double climbing problem. Absolutely.
So what you want to do is you want to start realizing that it is important to have a properly designed space, and to spend as much time as possible in a position of good posture when you're in a car, or when you're in an office, or whatever you do in your life.
Absolutely. So give us an idea of what an office kind of has to look like make a mark in front of yourself if you were sitting at a desk.
So this is the best things I can do. Like we don't have a camera operator. He got sick today.
He's been sick since the first episode.
We don't have a camera operator. We are our own operators. So this is
we're not going to have a goddamn remote. We have to get up.
But anyway, this is what I'm going to tell you. Think of 90-degree angles, guys. So the knee has to have a good 90-degree angle when you're sitting. 90-degree angle in your hip. When you have your hands, they have to be in a good 90-degree angles also. And when you're staring at the computer, it's got to be right in front of your face.
Meaning level with your eyes.
Level with your eyes.
The center of the screen or the monitor.
So if you look, it's always a 90 degree. If you look at the side, it's 90 degrees. Now you cannot generally adjust the table, so it comes down to figuring out how to adjust the chair for your specific needs. So let's say, if you have shorter legs,
you have to raise the chair.
You raise the chair so you first can touch this with 90 degrees, but then your leg's going to be hanging down, so you'll have to put something underneath the legs to raise them up. So if you have like a books or a little chair or something, you will have to put, because if your leg is hanging off the chair and not touching the ground, a lot of times you'll find people with knee-related injuries that they got from just sitting like that. Not
to mention the pressure that it puts in the back of the leg that affects the nerves, that affects the muscles.
So you can have like a sciatic nerve injury just by doing that. Okay. Now, hands, same thing. If you work with a computer and the mouse is like here somewhere, then you put a lot of stress on your arm throughout the day to work. So you would want to have a good alignment, and you want your forearm to be resting on something. So when you work with a mouse, you would want to have it somewhere like this, where you take the pressure off when you're using it. Yeah? Make sense?
I'm just listening to you, absolutely.
Good. So that's with the mouse. And with a computer screen, you want to look right straight at it. You definitely don't want to have it too high up, so you're staring at it, or too far down.
And this is the other thing that I see all the time, and I come across several offices that I have stepped in, that they have the keyboard in this direction, facing, let's say, Aram, and the monitor is to the left or to the right. Same thing with the phone. It might be to the left or to the right, and the cord does not reach because it's all tangled up. And they have to kind of reach over, and they're doing stuff, and they just look like a pretzel. That will cause problems with your hips, problems with your back, problems with your neck. And from there, it extends to the extremities, because the minute you create a trouble with your lumbar spine, it's going to affect your legs. The minute that you do anything with your neck, it's going to affect your arms. So then we have, like repetitive stress injuries with people such as carpal tunnel syndrome and thoracic outlet syndrome, which are very, very common, and I deal with that quite often.
This is the thing, guys. Your employer, if you work for somebody or if you employ employees, always pays for what's called workman's compensation, and then it's injury at work. So a lot of times we don't have injuries because we lift like a heavy weights, but majority of people have injuries because they just sit in improper, poor ergonomic conditions.
Absolutely.
So I think it's important, if you're an employer and you have a bunch of employees, if you want to avoid the charges that are going to be billed to you because your employees getting carpal tunnel, all kind of injuries due to work-related poor conditions,
absenteeism,
invest into better ergonomics. Buy adjustable chairs. There's different size of people out there. There's a 6'5", 7 feet tall people. There's a 5 feet tall people. There's all kinds of different size of people. You would want to buy a good chair where your employee can adjust it according to them. And at least you want to give them understanding what they need to do.
Right.
You can hire somebody like us to come to your work to check it out, to see what's going on and give you tips of what exactly you can do to make sure there's a whole lot of stress on your employees. If you're an employee, you want to make sure that your boss is aware that you want a healthy work environment. A healthy work environment is at least to have a good ergonomics when you sit in front of a computer for 8 hours a day.
Absolutely.
It is your right to demand a good treatment at work, and you will be the one who suffers if you don't have that kind of conditions at work.
Second, get your ass in the gym. Because no matter how good your chair is, you can still slouch in your chair. Everybody says, you know, how good it is to sit on a Swiss ball, on a stability ball for work because it activates all these muscles that otherwise you wouldn't, being in a passive position. Well, guess what? You can slouch in a ball, you can slouch in a $3,000 office chair if you want. It has to do with your body. So you have to do something to work on your postural muscles so they maintain you upright. Because I can be using a nice chair now, and I could be sitting like this, and I could be like this, you know, doing my work. And I sometimes do that because I'm very tired, I will be honest. But most of the time I will be sitting upright and I can hold myself upright for many, many hours I do, like I do many days. So, two things. Get good equipment to work with, so you don't create any type of repetitive stress injury, and actually get yourself to the gym and get in shape. At the very least, work on flexibility and work on balance, which means, you know, working on the structures of your body that hold you upright. Go ahead, finish up.
That's it, guys. That's all I wanted to say.
I'm in a bad mood today, so I'll rip somebody anyways in a second.
Alright, take care of your ergonomics, and if you do, remember, your future is going to look a whole lot better. Thank you very much for watching, and until next time.
Have a wonderful time.